Hi guys, Ali Duzette here, and we are living history today. So I had to get on here and talk you through it because we have some crazy stuff going on. Okay, let's find what I'm talking about. Okay, here we have the FDIC has actually shut down a major bank. Silicon Valley Bank collapses after failing to raise capital. And this whole story, I mean, obviously it started long ago, but it is still going now. Let's look at this. Silicon Valley Bank collapsed Friday morning after a stunning 48 hours in which its capital crisis set off fears of a meltdown across the banking industry. Its failure marks the largest shutdown of a U.S. bank since 2008, when Washington Mutual fell during the financial crisis. Now, pause, right? Because what is similar about right now to 2008? I will tell you what everything that happened, the big financial disasters of 2008, happened just weeks before Pluto entered Capricorn, which governs housing. I mean, like, it is on the Cancer Capricorn axis of houses. And of course, Capricorn governs the economy as a whole. And right now, Pluto is in basically exactly the same place that it was back then, except instead of in Capricorn, instead of in Sagittarius, it is now in Capricorn and about to enter Aquarius. Okay, so in 2008, all of that stuff took place just before Pluto entered Capricorn. And right now, everything that's happening is just weeks before Pluto enters Aquarius. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. And Pluto just prunes what is dead. It destroys the stuff that just can't hack it, you know? The stuff that was not built on a firm foundation, Pluto devastates it. And I don't know, here we are with Pluto entering Aquarius any minute now. And for months or years, I have been saying that as Pluto would enter Aquarius, within a few weeks of that, we should be looking for some collapse type events that would affect probably the economy, but especially technology. So what is really special about Silicon Valley Bank? Well, I think the name is a really great place to start. Oh, oops. What's going on? Why is it not doing this? I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to share my screen and it became a weirdo. So there we go. Share. Silicon Valley Bank is what you think it is. It is a financer for Silicon Valley. This is tech. And that is what Aquarius governs. Aquarius governs technology. And so here we have this situation where this bank is falling apart because, and the bank is specific to tech startups. It is also specific to biotech startups, which is a really interesting thing given the past 3 years, right? Since 2020, we've had some interesting stuff involving biotech developments, biotech companies, and now we have the first bank that's collapsing. Isn't that a terrible way to say it? But I personally do not believe this is the only thing that we will see of this nature this year, or possibly this month. So so how interesting that the first domino to fall in this little scenario here is a tech startup specifically. It's specifically for technology and biotech. When Pluto, of course, is entering Aquarius that governs technology and biotech, I mean, of course it is. Of course, this is what is happening. It makes so much sense. And this is what we've been talking about for months, for over a year. It is happening today. Do I think you need to lose your mind? I do not believe in losing your mind. Excuse me. Some people I was watching this morning were suggesting that you go and take out some cash, like make sure you have cash on hand to survive for, a week or like however much time that you feel like you want to have cash on hand. I mean, to me, hopefully you've already done that, right? Like hopefully that has already happened and you are already all set with that. I always think that the most important thing is, our divine connection and making sure that you're right with God and that you have the faith that God is going to take care of you no matter what happens. God can take care of you financially no matter what happens. So to me, that is the number one thing. It was interesting listening to these other guys on YouTube this morning because they're saying, okay, there's being this run on the banks. So be sure to go to the bank and get out some cash. And I thought, oh man, aren't you supporting more of a run on the banks? But they did point out you never want to be the last one to panic, right? So makes sense. But here we are. So this is the other interesting thing that happened. So for people that have been following my channel for a long time, a few months ago, back in probably September, I posted this bizarre experience that I had at the airport where my friend and I were riding on American Airlines and we missed our flight at like 11 p.m. And we were given all of these coupons. But they were like, oh, sorry, you missed your flight. Like, have all these coupons for free food, have all these coupons for a free hotel. But the next flight out was going to leave at like 3 a.m. So we had this like 11 p.m. to like 2 a.m. gap where we're not going to go to the hotel. Like, what a useless hotel coupon. And then we said, well, we are starving. We're wandering the airport looking for food. And even though we have these coupons, nothing would accept our coupons. Everything was closed. And the places that were open were like, yeah, we don't take those. Only restaurants can take those. Like, we'll take your money, but we can't take your coupon. And so we had to pay cash for the food that we ate. Yeah. And anyway, this whole story was like quite long. And I made a whole video about it because as this experience wrapped up, which that was just like the very beginning of it, my friend and I just looked at each other and said, we are living a prophecy. Like, we are living, like, this is a prophecy. American Airlines, the system is like collapsing for us. They're giving us these like worthless coupons telling us, oh, we'll provide for your shelter, we'll provide for your food, we'll provide for your transportation, free taxi to the hotel, but none of them work. And I don't know, the story was crazier than that, and I'll link that. But here we are because this is what is happening right this minute. The FDIC creates a deposit insurance, National Bank of Santa Clara, to protect insured depositors of Silicon Valley Bank, Santa Clara, California. Okay, sorry, that's the title of it. What a terrible title, right? Okay, basically what's happening is the FDIC is planning to protect the insured deposits and also uninsured depositors in a different way, right? So all insured depositors will have full access to their insured deposits no later than Monday morning. The FDIC will pay uninsured depositors an advanced dividend within the next week. Okay, uninsured depositors will receive a receivership certificate for the remaining amount of their uninsured funds. In other words, the FDIC is going to give you a coupon for your money. You have X dollars. When I saw that, my heart just stopped and I thought, oh my gosh, this is the prophecy that I lived. It's happening right now. They're literally giving out the worthless coupons for money like right now. It is happening right now. So that is crazy. But you know what we got to do, guys? We got to look at the star chart because that's what we're here for. Okay, this is the aspectarian of the transit today. And this is the transit that I wrote up based on, this is the transit chart that I wrote for this morning for based on all these different articles that I was looking at what time to base it off of. Now, of course, the bank really kind of fell apart 2 days ago, but today is the day that everyone's hearing about it. Today is the day that hundreds and hundreds of people are not getting their paychecks. And today is the day that, I don't know, people are losing their minds. So I looked at a bunch of different articles about this event and decided to run the chart from about 6:30 a.m. because that seemed to be a fine time to run it. So the exact time does not super matter for this chart. Let's go ahead. And actually, I think what I want to do is create a smaller version of this chart that is also bigger. Let's see if this will show up better on what we're working with. Okay. Okay, let's try this. Sharing the screen. Okay, now this is a fascinating chart, and it is just like It is just interesting. The first thing that showed up to me, of course, is that this Jupiter is exact Chiron at both 14 degrees of Aries. Oh my goodness, that's tight. Jupiter deals with money. Chiron deals with the greatest soul wound, great wounds around money taking place in Aries. And it sure enough kind of feels like the fiery furnace has like burned all this money away. A really interesting placement. Now we also have Venus right here next to Chiron, and that's actually the first thing I noted when I saw this. Venus also, so Jupiter is like the planet of giving money, and Venus is the planet of receiving money. Juno, right here, is an asteroid goddess of money because she's named after Juno, like Hera, the goddess of Zeus, whose other title was Montera. And that's actually where we get the word money from. And interestingly, when I was running a calendar of America's birth chart, you know, depending on how you divide up a chart, you can actually time it out by like year and by day. And so I was making a calendar of the United States chart based on the Pluto cycle. And what I found was that the year that Juno was triggering was indeed the year that we established the dollar. So that is like a really interesting astrological connection between Juno and dollars, Montera, money. And here we have all in a row, Jupiter, Chiron, Venus, and Juno, that's just a lot of wounding around different kinds of money, around being sent money, around receiving money, and around the creation of, shall we say, currency, you know, like actual bills and like coins and stuff. So all of that is happening, and look at that. It is creating an opposition to what the moon and the part of fortune, that's X marks the spot, which also deals with money. So this is just an incredibly fascinating transit that is impacting all of us right now. We can see how it's playing out right now, which is so interesting. Oh my goodness. I just can't. And so, okay. And I just noticed one more very interesting thing in this chart, which is this. So this opposition is really quite something. This Venus to the moon and the part of fortune opposition. Whenever you have an opposition, it means there's a bunch of tension. The moon is going to be our national feelings and our sense of security. There's going to be a lot of tension between our national feelings and our feelings about money, because this is the part of fortune. And then our ability to actually receive money, okay, is going to be wounded. Okay, that is what that is right there. So we're seeing this play out right now, but look at this red, these red lines creating this triangle. I know it's a triangle, but it's technically called a T-square because of this right angle right here. It makes a square angle. That's why it's called a T-square, but it's really a triangle. And it's pointing at what? Pluto. At 29 degrees of Capricorn. We are having Pluto enter Aquarius on March 23rd. Today is what, March the 10th? We are less than 2 weeks away from Pluto's ingress into Aquarius. And this is just exactly all the stuff that I've been talking about for months and months and months happening right now. And of course, I just love that T-square. Like, this all comes back to Pluto. It comes back to Pluto. Like, the chart itself is pointing straight at it. And for the record, the moon moves quickly. The moon transits an entire sign in less than 3 days. So basically the odds of this exact formation are slim, you know? And so that is just too interesting. And here we are playing it out. Now, of course, one thing that we absolutely have to mention as well is that Saturn just entered Pisces. Saturn just entered Pisces on Tuesday. Today is Friday. And why does that matter? Because Saturn is the guy in charge of Capricorn, and Saturn is one of the big astrological players around economies. Okay, so Venus deals with receiving money, and Jupiter is throwing money at everybody, and Saturn is working hard. And that is why that's Saturn's link to money. Saturn is the hard worker, and Saturn is the one showing up every day to like put in the time. That is how Saturn links to money. And Saturn just entered Pisces. And so we've seen, I think one of the most notable weather examples of how this transit is impacting, people is the incredible amount of snow that many areas in the West Coast are receiving right now. I know I'm in Utah, and we have received incredible amounts of snow. They say they have not seen this much snow since 1983, and we have way more snow than there was in 1983, and that triggered tons of flooding. And so now we've got tons of snowpack. Are we going to see tons of flooding? Well, Pisces is a water sign, and Saturn just entered it, and so we're kind of expecting some karmic comeuppances involving water, which would involve snow and other precipitation events, and flooding would fall under that. And so it's all kind of happening at the same time. But what an interesting timing that just as Saturn just exited Aquarius, Pluto is preparing to enter Aquarius. And it's like, as this clock's hands are ticking in the night sky, this clock that God created of the universe that ticks off what's happening day by day, reflecting it in the sky, the mirror that is the sky. I don't know. It's just really, really fascinating timing. Because because this is all impacting our affluence as a nation. And the word affluence is from the Latin affluere, the flow. It's impacting our reserves, which again, like a reservoir of water, this is just a really interesting transit. So anyway, our job is to stay calm and be happy, and to stay in alignment with our divine source, say your prayers, make sure that you're doing good things, because when you put good out into the world, good comes back to you. And I really do know that. So please go and do that. Be sure to like and subscribe. Come hang out with me on Facebook at Intuitive Healing and Self-Care with Ali Duzette. You can go check out the free offerings at my website if you would like to learn a little bit more about all of this stuff and how to get yourself in a space emotionally where you can handle whatever is coming. And my site is aliduzetclasses.com. So I'll link that below. But thank you for being here. I'll keep on keeping an eye on it, and we'll just have to see what happens. Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye.